Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us now. Several airline passengers have experienced delays at the OR Tambo International Airport as the South African Airways pilot strike enters its second day. Pilots affiliated to the SAA Pilots Association, also known as SAPA, and the National Transport Movement Pilots Forum are demanding a 15% wage increase along with other benefits, while SAA is offering 8%. The strike action has forced the national airline to cancel some of its flights, including Perth in Australia and Sao Paulo, Brazil. SAA says it's taking contingency measures to reduce the impact of the industrial action on its customers and business. SABC News reporter Katlego Legodi joins us now to give us the very latest. Katlego, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. So perhaps let's start with context. What exactly are the protesters looking for at this point?
Good afternoon to you, Fundo, and to our viewers at home. Well, at the crux of where we find ourselves here is a wage impasse, but coupled with working conditions. So we are told by the workers just yesterday, spending most of the day with the pilots themselves, that had staged a demonstration outside of the SAA headquarters in Kempton Park, and most of them just worried about their well-being, worried about their well-being in terms of their health, but also in terms of what is happening in their pockets. So we hear that there was that business rescue process that was initiated in 2019 going all the way to 2021, and that process just left most of them really compromised. That's what they're saying. Others even opting to take a 50% salary cut.
Yes.
So they're saying they've been really operating strenuously so, and they're looking to the employer to come through for them where this is concerned. And of course, I mean, coming at the back of what we saw, the announcement by the interim CEO saying that they're starting to gradually stabilize as an entity, and they're basically moving into the space of profitability, really making profits after a while, a long while, years actually, of no profit there. But now the workers have something to also bargain with here, to say that really when you look at it, things are on the move, but where do you place us as the employer?
But can the employer say that they factored in all of these reasons when putting an offer on the table, that there was COVID, people had to get salary cuts? Are they saying that they did in fact factor it when they put the wage offer?
Well, the workers are saying that basically it's granted that we found ourselves in a very trying time where COVID-19 is concerned. Here we're talking about SAA that had about 800 of its staff complement. So since also the introduction of the business rescue process, that has since gone down. It was 400 at some point, going all the way down to what we're talking about now. We're talking about 161 of these pilots that are saying that really when you look at it, the work has also more than doubled for them, looking at the fact that they have to more or less spend little time or less time with their families, but in the skies. So most of these things have been factored in, and they're saying that really when you look at it, they started at a 30%, and that was their initial demand, moving all the way down to 15%. And they're saying the reason why they started there at 30% is because just to make up for the 50% of the salary cut that they received, as we see also just concerns from aviation experts that what is happening there in terms of the compensation of the pilots is not in line with the standards, you know, the aviation standards, or basically what is happening in the industry. So the workers are well within their rights to say that please do something, help us here to also just come through for our families as well in these trying times. So we see SAA just operating on a skeletal. Really, when you look at it, we spent most of the day today at the OR Tambo International Airport just interacting with the commuters. Most of them really not happy, Mfundo, with what is happening here. Others even caught off guard.
So which routes have been mostly affected here? Because I know a number of people have been anxious just to even go to the airport, not knowing if they'll actually be able to catch their flight. So which routes have been affected, and is it local or also international?
So here we're talking about 60% of the work complement of SAA that is not in operation right now. Actually, just speaking to a Guy Leach, an aviation expert earlier on, just gauging what he's picking on, he was saying that right now they're operating with 33%, and this would be 33% of contingency measures, them chartering some flights and airlines to just come through and help them close the gap. But mostly affected, you'd find international routes. So we're talking about Sao Paulo, Brazil, that is affected. Perth in Australia is affected. affected. The route to Lagos is affected. Ghana, Lubumbashi is affected. Here at home, Joburg to Cape Town, mostly affected. Durban as well affected. So most of the commuters that we spoke to just earlier on, not happy with SAA, not happy with the communication as well, in terms of some of them having to find out right there at the airport that there was a little bit of a problem. So saying that the communication becomes somewhat of a tricky part, but also we hear most of them saying that, for instance, earlier on, I was speaking to a couple from Ghana. They have to rush to Ghana for the elections this weekend. They are stuck at OR Tambo International Airport because there's nothing, there's no move. Also, they had to sleep overnight in Johannesburg. That was not their plan. So what SAA has been doing, they've been accommodating them. So instead of you being stranded at the airport, they would book you into a Beachwood hotel, for instance. So you're able to sleep overnight, hopeful that the following day things would move. But they were back there
But
today.
If there's no movement, are they also booking other flights then for people?
So what they're doing as well is that they are reconnecting some of these, they're booking flights. So asking other chartered airlines to come through and help them in terms of closing the gap. But that was a worry for the pilots that were saying yesterday that this comes at an expense. All right. So this is the money that you could have been saving, or the money that you could have been bargaining with us on here in terms of just coming to the table. But they're saying that the employer has not been negotiating in good faith. It's a matter.
But it's a bit of a catch-22 because, I mean, the employer in this instance would have to assist the customers. I mean, you're speaking about a very serious case where a Ghanaian family has to go and vote. So you would expect that the employer, SAA, in this respect, would try and assist these people to get back to their home country. But just in close, just as we close, what is the status now? Are they anywhere near finding each other on just the amount?
Just hearing earlier on as well, and this is something that they would confirm, SAA, that they've roped in the deputy CEO to be the one that is leading the talks here because of the various voices. They don't want various voices, they want a structured communication. And the workers, when you look at it, they're saying that theirs wouldn't be to be in the streets, but they're also worried about their well-being and the well-being of the commuters. If you're fatigued and you're a pilot and you're responsible for a number of bodies, so that actually places you at a disadvantage. So they're pleading with the employer to say, as we see the festive season as well just being upon us, as we see the schools closing, so really it was a hive of activity at the airport, and you got a sense that things are starting, or the numbers are starting to peak. So they're saying that take that into consideration. We're not forcing your hand, but take that into consideration. But the employer saying, I find myself in a corner because I don't have the money. I'm trying to get back into just financial well-being as an entity. So how do I close the gap? So it's a bit of a catch-22, but at the end of the day, they have to find each other because we're going into the weekend now, and experts are saying that really the sooner the strike action is ended, the better.
Thank you very much, Katlego. That's SABC News reporter Katlego Legodi, who's been monitoring day 2 of the SAA protests.